Happy end of 2023, everybody. Welcome to Campfire Football. I'm Sebastian North. Let's go over the best and worst of the year. So we're going to do this video as a part 1 and part 2. All right, first off, let's start with the best teams of 2023. Number 1 has to be Man City. Treble winners in the spring. They just wrapped up the Club World Cup. Now, yes, they've struggled a little bit in the fall to really assert their dominance, but they are totally in the title race, and most people expect them to get into a different gear in the spring. Next is Inter Milan. Now, after Man City obliterated Madrid in the semifinal, most people were like, oh God, Inter have got it coming to them. But they played extremely well, kept the scoreline really tight, almost scored themselves to send it to extra time, and in the summer, they actually lost a whole bunch of players. They lost Edin Dzeko, they lost Romelu Lukaku, and they replaced them and look really good right now. Next is Bayer Leverkusen. This season, there is no doubt they are the only team at the moment still unbeaten in all competitions. Xabi Alonso completely turned this club around when he took over in 2022. They were close to relegation trouble. Now they are tied for top of the Bundesliga with Bayern Munich. All right, let's talk about the worst big teams. First is Manchester United. Now, I know this is a little bit harsh because they won the League Cup in the spring and then finished in the top 4, but there was so much expected going into the season, especially after the summer signings, and it has gone completely in the opposite direction. The only bright spot is Alejandro Garnacho. Next is Chelsea, who definitely have been worse. Yeah, they have no silverware to point at. They did not qualify for Europe. They were abject and rotten. And in the fall, though Mauricio Pochettino has shown signs of getting the team a little bit more together, they've had some good results. They are still so insanely unreliable. You can never tell if they're going to ship 3 goals in 10 minutes, which they almost did against Luton. Really, it's a 2023 to forget. They've had 3 managers, and because of the transfer policy, they just don't really look like they're going anywhere fast. And the third is Olympique Lyonnais, or Lyon. They are 15th out of 18 right now in the French league, and it's just been an abysmal season. Now, last term did not end well either. Even though Alexander Lacazette was one of the top goal scorers in the league, they still ended up finishing 7th. And the beginning of this season was a disaster. Laurent Blanc got axed pretty quickly. In came Fabio Grosso. He couldn't win either. And now Pierre Sage, the academy coach, has taken over, and he's actually started to turn things around. Now, let's talk about the best players. First one is Rodri. If you don't agree, I'd say watch him, and especially watch City when he's not there. He really has been the key for them in so many games. He got the winner in the Champions League final, but overall, he just makes everything around him work better. Next is Jude Bellingham. I often think about the end of last Bundesliga season, where Dortmund are at home. All they have to do is beat Mainz, who have nothing to play for, and they're champions. Now, they completely blew it. They lose the game. They had no personality. They looked nervous, and they just fumbled at the absolute last hurdle. Thing is, Jude Bellingham was not playing in that game. He was injured. I often think, what if he was on the pitch? Well, after you see what he's done at Real Madrid, you'd probably start to think, yeah, that guy would have just done it himself and won it. Jude Bellingham has gone on to another level since he joined Real Madrid, and honestly, it's just been incredible. Last one is Erling Haaland. 50 goals this calendar year. He's 2 behind Harry Kane and Kylian Mbappe and 3 behind Cristiano Ronaldo. What a year. I mean, his first year at Man City, and he obliterates scoring records all over the place, ends up with the treble, and just narrowly missed out on the Ballon d'Or to Lionel Messi. All right, worst big players. Let's start with Paul Pogba. Look, he was injured pretty much the entire year. He played 160 minutes in Serie A. That's it. And then if things couldn't get any worse, he fails a doping test and is now banned for 2 to 4 years. Add that to the fact that he was dealing with this whole problem with his brother trying to extract money from him. Insane, horrible year for Paul Pogba. I don't even know if we'll ever see him again. It's like he peaked at that goal against Switzerland in the last Euros. It's kind of sad, actually. Also kind of sad, Neymar. Neymar's end to PSG was not good. He was not playing well, and also the fans basically chased him out of the club. Showing up at his house and everything. I mean, like, it was bad. So he escapes PSG and goes to Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. It hasn't worked out, and we'll actually get back to Neymar in a bit. The next one is Kai Havertz. Arsenal completely bailed Chelsea out here because, ask any Chelsea fan, Kai Havertz has been a thorn in the side since his debut versus Brighton under Frank Lampard. He only has 9 goals and 2 assists for the whole year. He frustrated Chelsea fans for a while, and he's doing the exact same thing now at Arsenal. All right, let's move on to the best managers. First one is Unai Emery, who just ended the year on a high with Villa as they beat Burnley 3-2, and that means that they end up with 17 victories at home this year, more than any other team in the league, and they also collected more points than any team except for Man City. Unai Emery has completely changed this club. He's made guys like John McGinn, Ollie Watkins, Douglas Luiz, Ezri Konsa. He's made them all better, and he's added new players into the mix that makes it all seamless. Next one is Ange Postecoglou. He wrapped up his time in Celtic in the spring by winning the domestic double, and then comes into Spurs, loses Harry Kane, goes on to be unbeaten in his first 11 matches and collect 3 straight Manager of the Month awards. Nobody saw that coming, but what he has done to completely revolutionize the vibe there has been incredible. All right, the next one has to be Xabi Alonso. Similar to Unai Emery, he took over in October of 2022 and has had a lights-out 2023. This year, they lost 10 matches in all competitions, and since the fall started, they have won 22, drawn 3, and lost none. All right, that's the end of part 1. And if you want to hear about the best and worst managers, best and worst transfers, and the craziest sagas, click for part 2. I'm Sebastian North. This is Campfire Football.